Right, so this is going to be the start to our Do More, Be More campaign. And it's pretty much going to be a series of weekly videos where we're looking at successful people, so that you can pretty much learn how to become a better person. So the first successful person we're doing is motivational speaker Tony Robbins. I've given him the label motivational speaker, but I know he's like a psychologist. He has like self-help books, and you might actually be familiar with his documentary on Netflix called I'm Not Your Guru, and he pretty much holds seminars in Florida. Thousands of people attend, changes their lives, and more importantly, changes lives around the world. Now, I'm going to hold a promise to you now. Please, please, please watch it to the end, and I can guarantee that it will change your perspective on life forever. So that's the promise. Watch to the end. And this is Tony Robbins with 3 Ways to Be More.
The one thing they all have in common, I think, is they're hungry. And I know that sounds simplistic, but I believe that's the single most important element that separates the quality of people's lives. It's not just the ability to have hunger, but to sustain it. Hunger means that you want more. You want more of yourself. You want to make a bigger difference. You want to be a better parent. You want to do something more than there is today, and that you don't get satisfied. And most people start out with hunger at an early stage of life and they lose it. But the people that come to me are hungry either because something's happened, they've had a birthday with a 0 on it, they've gone through a divorce, they're starting a business and they know I've got to have a different level, or they're the best in the world and they're always looking for that edge that makes the difference.
What keeps you hungry?
I am hungry. I think what it is I think everybody is born with hunger. Like there's a desire to grow, to expand, to learn, and then disappointment sets in early in life for most people. And then we look to blame something outside of ourselves. And there are many events in our lives that can affect us all. We've all had pain and challenges. But I think if you can find within yourself the part of you that wants to constantly give something more than yourself, if you can find a mission larger than yourself, then you're more pulled to do something than trying to push yourself. When you allow the environment to control your psychology, you're not going to win. There's an interesting guy named Mel Fisher, that you may remember from back in the 90s. He was, if the name lingers in your mind, he was a guy that spent, I think it was 27 years, if I remember correctly, looking for this Spanish galleon that was supposed to be filled with gold. You remember that?
Of course.
And he had found it after 27 years. Now here's my question for you, Jim.
Yeah.
5 years into it, you've worked every day for 5 years and you found nothing. What are you gonna do? And how are you gonna raise more money because you have run out of money? 10 years into it, 15 years into it, 20 years into it. So I say to people in business, I say to them, you wanna understand psychology? Here's the biggest challenge for most businesses. They think they've maxed what's possible because they think they've tried everything. Once you believe that, your belief controls you and you miss the innovations, you miss the answers. This guy found that gold because he had 3 beliefs. First belief was there's a treasure out there, and he was certain it was out there, even though he didn't have any absolute evidence. And that certainty drove him. But if you knew there was treasure in your business, that's not enough. You got to also believe I will find it. And you also have to believe it's worth it, right? And without those 3 beliefs, he never would have found it. And so changing the psychology of the leader is what will change a business faster than anything else. Changing their skills will also do it, but lots of people have the skill and they don't execute. And you and I both know, execution's more important than knowledge. Knowledge is trumped by execution every single day. And that execution comes by changing the psychology. So the second skill is the art of fulfillment. If you want an extraordinary life, you can't just achieve, you gotta be fulfilled. As simplistic as that sounds, but it's an art. It's not a science.
Sure.
It's a science to making money, come on. Any age, any color, any background, any gender, if you do these things, you'll have an abundance of money. You do these things, you're gonna have too much month at the end of the money. You're gonna have financial stress, right? Body. Everyone's biochemically different, but you and I both know there's fundamental rules, laws. There's a science to the body. You violate that science, you're gonna have dis-ease, you're gonna have low energy. You align with that, you're gonna have an abundance of energy. It's gonna affect everything in your life. It's a science. Fulfillment's not like that. Fulfillment is as different as our human beings. You wanna know what God or the universe likes? Look at the jungle, look at the forest.
Right.
It's diverse, right? So most people think, well, I wanna get that because they've been modeling somebody else, and that might work on how to achieve something. It'll never work for what to fulfill you. How many people you know, like you, got what you thought you wanted and you weren't fulfilled?
Right.
And that, I always tell people, success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. The ultimate failure. Because if you go at something and you fail and you're an achiever, you don't fail. You go, I learned something, I'll just try something else. Right. I'm gonna still get there. But when you succeed and you're not happy, you're technically screwed. Right. What are you gonna do? So, a perfect example of this, I mentioned in the seminar you were there because it hit me about a year and a month ago, we lost what I consider a national treasure, Robin Williams. And I asked people, how many of you love Robin Williams? Everybody raised their hand all around the world, right? He made people laugh, people were touched by him. So how good was he at the science of achievement? I mean, he wanted to be a great comedian and make the whole world laugh, he did. He wanted to have his own TV show, he did. He wanted the #1 show, he did it. He wanted to make movies, he did. He wanted to have an Academy Award for not being funny, dramatic, and he did it, right?
He did it, yeah.
He said he wanted a beautiful family. He achieved everything, and he hung himself.
That's crazy.
And I know recently someone's saying, well, you know, he had dementia, he had drug abuse, he had alcohol abuse most of his life because he made everybody happy but whom?
Himself.
That's the ultimate failure. So if I had no other message to offer your viewers, and you let me give it to them right now, please. I'll tell you what I believe. I believe our lives are controlled by one force, decisions. I certainly believe in force greater than myself, call it God if you will, grace, whatever you want to call it, the universe. But I also believe it gives us choices. And the decisions we make control us much more than the conditions we meet. It's not the conditions, it's your decisions. Decisions of what to believe, decisions of what to do, decisions of what to give. I say to people, think about, you know, look back 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 15 years ago, and think of a decision you made that if you would have made a different decision, you'd have a totally different life today. Better or worse, I don't know, but totally different.
Right.
In your case, if you'd stayed doing what you're doing, you'd have a lot of money and still been miserable, right? You know, and probably your great lady over here would be feeling miserable because she loves you so much and she'd be feeling your misery, wanting to figure out what to do. But you made that decision.
Right.
The most important decision you can make above any on the face of the earth is deciding that no matter what happens in your life, no matter what happens, you're gonna live in a beautiful state. And what the hell does that mean? It means that you're not gonna suffer. It means a beautiful state is that you're gonna be happy, but that's only one. Or you're gonna feel creative, or you're gonna be passionate, or you're gonna be in awe of something, or you're gonna feel love. Any state that's a beautiful state is really the core essence of who you are without fear, right? All of our suffering as human beings, and I deal with people all the time. I mentioned to you off camera, 2 people I coached yesterday. One's a presidential candidate, and the other one is a rap superstar, right? Both on the same day. And without naming any names, people that have everything by your point of view, most people's point of view, they have the fame and they have the love and millions of people love them and they have great economics, financial freedom, and they have homes and they have the fashion, they have everything, they're the shit. I can't tell you how many of them are miserable. Right. The majority are miserable. I'm not bullshitting. I'm the one who gets the phone call from the vast majority. When I say miserable, they're so used to it, some of them don't even realize they're miserable, right. But most do. They get in a place where it's like, how do I keep this up? How do I keep outdoing myself? How do I, you know, I built these 32 companies, how to keep all 32 going and make them all grow every single year, and that's not how life is, right?
Right.
And then they worry about what will people think, what will they do? So the decision to say, I am not gonna suffer, that if suffering arises, pain's one thing, suffering's another. You suffer is you focus on yourself.
Right.
Suffering comes when we obsess about ourselves, what we're getting or not getting, what we should have done, what others should have done for us. It's the me game. Right. You, my dear friend, and I say this with no blowing smoke, your primary core is a giver, which is why you're prospering. You're not the me. You're like, how do I give more, do more, share more, create more? How do we do a better job for our clients? How do we do a better job for our internal customers who work with us, our partners? Your entire life is that. It's why you're prospering. And you're not feeling suffering. But when you do suffer, and I promise you do, you correct me if I'm wrong, it'll because you're worrying about something in the future. How's this gonna happen? Will this come together? Suffering can be worry, it can be anger, it can be frustration. It's anything that takes you out of a beautiful state. And here's what people don't get. You can end suffering by stop focusing on yourself and focus on something you wanna serve greater than yourself.